"15 fictional characters more suitable for presidency than Donald Trump." Part 1.
If you are brand new to our channel, we invite you to take a moment to subscribe. Just click on the lit red button as well as the gray bell. Why the bell? Well, it will let you know every time we post a new video.
1. Buddy the Elf. Elf. Will Ferrell's representation of a cheery, upbeat, super social elf on a quest to find his forgotten father left us with the Christmas classic we'll never to forget, Elf. Buddy the Elf pretty much doesn't have a mean bone in his body. In fact, Buddy's whole world revolves around Christmas Day, spreading holiday cheer and maple syrup. Buddy's most deviant moment: exposing the truth about a fake Santa Claus in a New York shopping center, which he took full responsibility for via his termination cough. While Donald Trump is battling lawsuit after lawsuit, along with damaging video footage of his lewd behavior, it would take years to find dirt on Buddy the Elf. In fact, we challenge you to even try. 2. Bruce Wayne, Batman. Bruce Wayne has a net worth of $6.9 billion according to Forbes magazine in 2012. Donald Trump has an estimated net worth of $3.7 billion. Still impressive, but not considering what each man does with their gold. Donald Trump chose to maximize his potential profits by working on the forefront as CEO of his own company, eventually handing it down to his children. Bruce Wayne may be a chairman of his own company, but the billionaire playboy chooses to fight crime in an effort to clean up his home city of Gotham. Wayne spent millions establishing the fortress, tools, weapons, vehicles, and technology needed to keep the crime-riddled city's most notorious criminals at bay. Bruce Wayne's resume outweighs Trump's in almost every way, with the possibility of leeway when it comes to owning failing universities, USA beauty competitions, and foreclosing golf courses. We understand there's no time for compliments, Robin, but really Batman, you're a winner. 3. Professor Charles Xavier, X-Men. Founder of the X-Men who use their superhuman abilities to counteract the evils of the world, IT Professor Charles Xavier would be the perfect candidate for presidency, with the exception of his age. The professor chooses physical confrontation only when it's necessary, opting out of negotiation tactics, which usually don't work. Xavier is the headmaster and creator of the Xavier Institute for Higher Learning, which has taken in homeless, afraid, and discriminated against superhumans in hopes of teaching them to use their powers for the good of mankind rather than evil. Due to the professor's success with mutants, the world became more educated and accepting. Whereas Donald Trump has a habit of stereotyping certain individuals in society and certainly doesn't promote inclusion. There's also the leadership skills which IT Professor Charles Xavier undoubtedly succeeds. 4. Gandalf the Grey White, the Lord of the Rings Trilogy. Gandalf has led many expeditions with elves, humans, dwarfs, hobbits, wizards, you name it. In fact, he led an expedition with an estimated 17-year span in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Oh, and he lived to tell the tale. Gandalf's decisions as a leader can, at times, seem shaky, but he stands as a symbol for many of his fellow adventurers to adhere to. Gandalf risks his life in many instances for the sake of the cause, even if that means jumping in front of a dragon to distract it from Frodo Baggins. Much like Gandalf, Trump is a sort of symbol too. Rather than symbolizing strength, knowledge, or bottle wizardry, Donald Trump represents bigoted businessmen and the catchphrase "you're fired." The facts speak for the 5. Shrek. Shrek is one of the more misunderstood characters in the DreamWorks universe. His sarcastic humor is a little standoffish, but as the 4 installments will show, deep down Shrek has a heart. He's also one of the few selfless beings in Duloc to take on the quest of saving Princess Fiona from the fire-breathing dragon. Oh, and he did it for the little price of keeping fairy tale creatures off his land. Please give me an example, when Donald Trump has done anything for his country for free. Not to mention, Shrek eventually marries into the far, far away royal family, giving him a heap of experience with unhappy villagers and evil princes trying to steal his throne, even if he didn't want it in the first place. 6. McGruff, the crime dog. National Crime Prevention Council. In response to a crime epidemic during the 1960s, and the concern for public education, the United States government created an ad campaign in 1977 featuring McGruff the crime-fighting dog. Due to McGruff's success with children and adolescents, a television series was devised, targeted towards younger youth, when they begin to be most at risk for wrongful behavior. With sidekick Scruff, his younger nephew, the two teach their community how to stay safe and keep out of trouble. McGruff is also a tough crime dog, and catches criminals and juvenile delinquents to teach them the hard lessons of life. More than one could say for Donald Trump, who has 3,500 pending lawsuits under his name. Maybe Trump needs a little McGruff talking to. 7. Francis Underwood, House of Cards. Francis Underwood may be a corrupt borderline psychopath, but he does get things done. The congressman, depicted by Kevin Spacey, is on a similar road to Donald Trump, only he actually wins. Mr. Underwood undermines many of his opponents and uses any means to acquire his goal, only he does it because politics are his life. It's his area of expertise, much like Trump's area of expertise is in business, where his nose belongs. Donald Trump doesn't have any political background or experience. If Donald Trump doesn't win the 2016 presidency race, he won't have to go. 8. Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes is a man that needs no introduction or explanation. However, for those of you living under an uninteresting rock, Sherlock Holmes is a bota detective who pays attention to such little details that lead him to grand assumptions, of which he's usually correct. Sherlock spends his time solving mysteries with his sidekick Watson, who is always there to keep him in line. Donald Trump has also made many friends during his career, one of whom is Jeffrey Epstein. The man who Trump describes as a lot of fun to be with is currently serving a 13-month sentence for soliciting a 13-year-old girl for prostitution. Since Donald Trump's advocacy for the convicted rapist was made public, his ties to the criminal have been questioned. The most recent controversy is Trump's alleged rape of a 13-year-old girl, which reportedly happened in 1994. Looks like Trump has some dirty secrets Mr. Holmes could peg out in under 10 seconds.